in the stadium, but not too many, as the two captains lead their teams out. Kostas Artimatas of Cyprus, and of course Andrew Robertson for Scotland. The two national flags are held out on the pitch. There's the European Qualifiers archway, which has been erected down there. The referee and his assistants take their place in the middle of that. And the two teams fan out either side. All, of course, coming on with the young mascots. Always so many mascots at the games these days. And what a wonderful experience for all those little boys and girls who are a big part of this afternoon's proceedings. Everyone to their feet as we move towards the national anthems. The first one for the Cypriot side. And the Scotland players band together down there on the pitch for Flower of Scotland. The Darn Army enjoying Flower of Scotland. Liam just pointing out to me that SFA have actually announced that this is a sellout this afternoon. There are a few empty seats, but the fans may be just a little bit slow in taking their places around the stadium. So that being the case, a wonderful turnout by the fans. And let's hope they are rewarded with all 3 points in this opening match in Group A of the Euro 2024 qualifiers. It's live here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland. Scotland against Cyprus. We'll hear more from Tom English and Craig Levine at half-time. Right now, full live commentary from Hampden Park, the National Stadium. Leanne Crichton, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
Match day one, but must win. Without question, Scotland at home to the bottom seeds in this group is their easiest fixture on paper. And they will be aiming for the 3 points for the Spanish to come here on Tuesday evening. It's the 17th European Championship by the time it comes round next summer. Scotland have only been to 3 of the previous 16, so it's not a regular competition, not that any of them have been over the last couple of decades, but they were involved with the last one, thanks to the playoffs. It was a good job they had the playoffs on that occasion. A 3-0 defeat in Kazakhstan opened that campaign. Their last European Championship qualifying victory on match day one was against the Faroe Islands, and that incidentally was the last time they won their first 2 matches in any qualifying campaign. They also beat Lithuania on match day 2. If they emerge with 6 points from these 2 games, then they're well on their way already. Top two, remember, qualify automatically for the tournament in Germany. And Scotland stand ready and waiting for a playoff should they require it. But Steve Clarke said in the immediate aftermath of that game against Ukraine in Krakow that they won't need the playoff. Such confidence in this group of players. Gunn gets his debut. His dad Brian played 6 times for the Scottish national team. Porteous, Hanley and Tierney at the back. Hickey and Robertson wide. Jack and McGregor with Armstrong and McGinn supporting Adams. That's the first 11 that Steve Clarke's picked for Euro 2024 qualifying. And it is the Scots who kick off in the navy blue, white shorts, red socks. How very traditional as they shoot left to right. Really nice day on Glasgow's south side. They're shooting towards the east stand. Cyprus in their white jerseys, blue shorts, white socks, will shoot towards the west stand as the ball's tossed forward towards Porteous, now of Watford, of course. And he plays it short to Hickey, who goes low back to Angus Gunn, who gets his first touch as Scotland #1. It's a telling sign that he's immediately thrown into the fray on his international debut, the former England under-21 international. But Che Adams was another who played youth football for the English national side, and he's made quite the impact up the other end of the pitch as Porteous knocks it forward and the sliding Cypriot defender puts it out. Roberts out onto this near side, and then it bounces off the head of Ianu down this near side as he chases it, but it's going to come right through to Angus Gunn as we tick into the second minute of this one. The Scots, Willie Miller, looking to make the most positive of starts to a campaign.
Absolutely. I think you know, you're at home. It doesn't look as though there's too many empty seats. You know, a few perhaps, but the fans have turned out. But it's such an important game that you've really got to try and stamp your authority on it very early. Hopefully get that breakthrough. An early goal would be absolutely wonderful just to settle everything down. But yeah, you know, you want to start this game in a positive mood.
Big queues even at Glasgow Central Station 3 hours ago for the trains out to Mount Florida as Tierney wins a throw in deep inside enemy territory, taken quickly by Robertson. And now it's McGregor on his 50th cap, looking for Robertson out on the far side. He's won a throw in right down by the corner flag, looking to take it quickly here is the Scotland captain, who earns cap number 61 this afternoon. Callum McGregor there only made his debut less than 6 years ago in a friendly against the Dutch of Pataudry. It shows you how quickly you can amass caps these days. As McGinn reverses it back out to Robertson, his low ball's cut out and Scotland have the first corner. 2 minutes in, 0-0, Leanne Crichton.
Yeah, good start from Scotland. You can see the intent right away with the system. We spoke about how they would try and play. Robertson's really high and wide, Hickey doing the exact same, but as the cross looks to come in there, you've got Hickey arriving at the back post as well, so there's good numbers inside the penalty area and an opportunity with this corner to deliver a good one.
Yes, indeed. It's an outswinger from Robertson, and it comes. The goalkeeper pats it away. It's not convincing. Jack takes it down on the edge of the box, finds Tierney right-hand side of the area, hits it with the outside of the left, and it bounces back off the defender there inside, round about the penalty spot. Alex Gogic, incidentally, of St Mirren, is in the Cyprus team. It looks as though, as he's been doing for his club recently, playing in the middle of a back three for Cyprus, with the captain just moving one forward, Konstantinos Laifis, into the midfield. He played centre-back when Cyprus were here last time. 4 of the Cypriot starting 11 started that game, which was Steve Clarke's first as Scotland manager, as that's bowled forward down this near side by Cyprus from the throw-in. Header from Porteous back into the Cyprus half, bounces off McGinn, and then Laifis of Standard Liège in Belgium turns it to the right of the centre circle, and then back the way it comes to Kasoulos, who was the goal scorer here late on. It was, he levelled things at 1-1 before Ollie Burke's heroics just a couple of minutes later to ensure Steve Clarke started with victory. And there's a foul by Hickey down on this near side, which has resulted in a Cyprus free kick beyond the midway point of the Scotland half, about 10 yards away from this main stand, south stand side touchline.
Yeah, I think it's actually Porteous, Liam, that comes over the top, just the elbow, catches the back of the head. Not an awful lot in it, certainly, but I think nowadays we know those types of fouls will be given. Yeah,
it's Nicholas Siano who was brought crashing to the ground. He was the meat in the sandwich, Porteous and Hickey, and it's a free kick here for Cyprus. They got a couple over it, including Charalambos Kriakou, who looks favourite for it. Would be the right footer to bend it in on top of the Scottish defence, though he stepped over it, and it's sent into the area, flicked away partially by Hickey, and then there's a foul on McGinn by Gogic in the back end of the penalty area after the free kick was eventually taken by Castanos of Salernitana in Italy. And that's a free kick to the Scots, which they're trying to take too quickly for the referees liking. The referee is Croatian. Duja Struka is the man in the middle. The VAR is Ivan Bebek, very experienced Croatian referee, as it's moved out to Porteous on this near side. So 4, almost 5 in, nothing each. And it's Ryan Jack in possession as he plays it to the left for Robertson. Robertson out to the touchline for Tierney. Of course, they can interchange. Tierney loves to get forward. He'll be enjoying a rare start here. He hasn't started a league game for Arsenal since Boxing Day, I think it was. He's played in the FA Cup since then, as Porteous returns it to Robertson, who comes up towards a bit level with the edge of the centre circle, out to the touchline for Tierney, who moves in field and plays it back to Robertson. Goes long, looking for the number 10, Adams, takes it down with the right foot, over on the far side, level with the edge of the Cypriot D. Moves back a few yards, finds Robertson back down the left. Robertson looking to get back onto it from Armstrong. It's just going to trundle over the line though. Right idea from Stuart Armstrong, and that goes behind for the goal kick. Scotland 0, Cyprus 0.
It was, but it's good striker play, isn't it, from Che Adams, taking that ball out there. It wasn't an easy one to take down from Robertson, but he made that move into the widest area, took it down extremely well and started the move just a little bit overhit there from Armstrong. Otherwise it's a very good move. I think they've just got to keep the pace of the game up, play everything nice and sharply and quickly and mix it up a little bit. It doesn't always have to be short passes like Andy Robertson played there, a little bit a longer one just to open the game up.
Well, Cyprus come here having won only 4 of their last 27 competitive games, and away from home they've only won 3 of the last 25 in competition football. As Porteous mashes it into the centre circle, here's Armstrong. No real surprise to see Armstrong in. He's got a good club understanding with Adams as Tierney looks to return it to him again. Just a bit too much on it though, and the goalkeeper Dimitrios Dimitriou comes out and clutches on to the right of his penalty spot. 6.5 in, 0-0.
It's the right idea though. Lovely ball from Porteous into the middle of the pitch for Armstrong. Just drops into that pocket of space. In a couple of passes you've broke the line, you're looking to try and play direct. As much as Scotland, they've got that possession-based style to them, I don't think there's going to be too much of a threat with regards to the build-up, backline to middle today, but it's just that final piece to the puzzle, going middle to front.
It is McGregor back to Tierney, over to the left-hand side for Robertson, clips it forward. Adams will chase after it. Gogic will get there first, and he knocks it clear with the right boot. Still in play though. Tierney on the halfway line over on that north stand side. We're away up high in the heavens above Steve Clarke's technical area here in the south stand. This is all happening on the opposite side. Robertson to Tierney, infield to Jack, low ball along the grass with the right foot out to Robertson, who's taking his time over it. Infield to Armstrong, back to Tierney, and then Tierney shifts it left to right of the circle for Porteous, who seems to have begun his career at Watford pretty well. Change in manager there since he arrived. Chris Wilder now in charge after the axing of Slaven Bilic. As Porteous looks up, long ball forward, it's Gogic, he gets his head to it, flags up on the near side against Adams anyway, and that is a Cyprus free kick as we approach 8 goalless minutes here at Hampden.
You know what's good about Porteous in the early stages anyway is every pass is a positive pass. He's got the head up, he's looking to play it nice and sharp as well. It's forward, sometimes at the angle, sometimes it's straight forward, but it's really positive. I think he's the type of player that just grows with confidence. He's always had that confidence in my opinion, but I think the move is giving him even greater confidence. He's out there and he's looking as though he's got a number of caps under his belt.
He's really confident anyway, isn't he? And after that excellent performance in Poland against the Ukrainians in September, I think he scored in his next 2 Hibs games as well off the back of that. So yeah, you're right, Well, he's obviously one of those guys who takes plenty of heart from good performances and praise as Armstrong collects over on the far side, and it comes back to Grant Hanley, who's the anchor of the back 3 for the Scots, and then out to the left for Tierney, changing pace, driving down the left hand side, midway point of the Cyprus half now. He gets the break of the ball, out for a throw-in, which Tierney thought about taking quickly to Robertson, but he's going to leave it instead for the skipper. And Kieran Tierney earning his 36th cap, plays it forward to Armstrong. He's got it under control, plays it off his man over on the far side, And it's going to be back to him at the byline, puts it across, and then again across the face of goal. That came from nowhere, and Hickey picks it up on the opposite side, down this Scotland right, as Jack collects it, finds McGinn. First real involvement in the game for McGinn. He's such a threat for the Scots. Jack with the left foot out to the left-hand side, in comes the cross, too close to the keeper. And Demetriou holds on to it in the 10th minute. Scotland 0, Cyprus 0. But once again, John McGinn supporting the forward line for the Scots across the face of goal. Nobody there to pop it home, but that was fantastic. The Scots flickering into life down by the byline.
Yeah, unfortunate, just the flick of the ball, whether it was going to end up on target or perhaps a late runner at the back post. But I think just the grease on top of the grass just takes it away in the opposite direction. But more positive play. When you look at the amount of bodies that Scotland have got in that final third, Ryan Porteous joining the attack as well, it just shows you how much of the ball that Scotland have got just now and how aggressive they are with their forward play.
Really gets by down there to Steve Clarke's right, the Cypriot coach. Of course, he's an unorthodox legend in Cyprus, Georgian legend as well. He was in charge of the Georgian national team when they were here back in 2016, the qualifiers for that campaign. The Euro 2016 qualifiers, as Tierney wins a throw-in on the far side and bowls it infield for Hanley, who plays it short to Porteous. Just inside his own half, back to Hanley and then to Tierney. Kieran Tierney goes to Hanley as well. Of course, Kitspaya, that one season spell at Dundee as well. During that period, they were signing all manners of European football, global football superstars. Kitspaya had his time there at Dens. Hanley finds Porteous and he just goes back to his goalkeeper. How do you think Scotland have started the game, Willie? 11 in, 0-0.
I think they've started really positively. You know, they've got the wing backs further forward the park. I think Andy Robertson in particular down the left hand side has been very productive. Him and Armstrong have linked well. I think defensively they haven't really been asked a question as yet, but you know, from the back so far anyway, they've been pretty positive in the use of the ball, which I think is important. I think when the way Cyprus are set up, you know, they're obviously there to try and frustrate, although they've got two up top, which is a little bit of a surprise. I was expecting perhaps one up there, but the rest are asked to be defenders and try to you know, make it a frustrating time for Scotland. And I think when you have that in front of you, you've got to make sure that the tempo and the pace, you know, and the sharpness of the passes is at the right level.
Got to be wary of the number 20, Grigoris Kastanos, who's one of those two. He's kind of playing maybe just behind Pitas, but he is in good form, really good player. Was in the books at Juventus once upon a time as Scotland come forward. McGinn to the right hand side of the box for Jack. Down by the byline, chaperoned by Gogic, but he's got it to Hickey, who dances into the area, drops the shoulder, plays it for goal, shoots for the near post, and the goalkeeper puts it behind for the corner. Really good positive play by Aaron Hickey. 12 and a half in, 0-0.
Excellent play, really good. Ryan Jack keeps the ball alive. Good decision. It goes back to Hickey, and for me it's actually almost the only thing he can do. He's only got Che Adams to aim for if he puts it across goal, but you're always saying to players inside the box, go and get your shot off. If anything, it rebounds out and you've got good numbers there to follow in. On this occasion it's out for another corner.
Robertson will take an in-swinger from this near side this time. In-swinger with a left foot coming up from the captain, and it goes, but the referee blows his whistle. A couple of players inside the penalty area have collided. It's Porteous and Gogic, former teammates at Easter Road. They know each other very well. The referee wasn't happy with the challenging between the two of them. He's actually dished out 129 yellow cards in 22 games this season. The big referee in the middle, and he's probably the tallest man on the pitch down there, as Robertson prepares to take this corner for a second time. The referee still having a word with a few in the box, and he encourages Robertson to get on with it. In fact, there's a potential penalty check message has gone up on the big monitors on both sides as the corner comes in. It's headed away to the edge of the area. It's Armstrong losing out, and Cyprus were almost away in a counter, and here comes the game's first yellow, and it's for Stuart Armstrong, the referee judging that to be a professional foul there, with Cyprus heading away in a potential counter. Armstrong booked for the foul on Kastanos.
Yeah, I think yellow card's the right decision. I think the Cypriot players are looking for more than a yellow, but
nah,
not for me. I think
But loads of the ball.
No, yeah.
Loads of it.
I think it's just the follow through. He catches him with his studs. Certainly a sore one, as you can see with the reaction of Castanos in the grass.
The thing is, in these campaigns, that can be costly because it's still, the rule's still 2 bookings and you miss a game.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, he's gone for the ball. I don't think there's any doubt it's a free kick, and I would say a booking as well, because he's maybe got a little bit of the ball. The studs are still showing. It's caught the ankle of Castanos as well. He's went down. You could see it was a sore one because he was away. You know, you're not going to give up that advantage. There's 2 of them. Get plenty of room ahead of them. So he's taken a stud. I think the referee was, quick on to it, and I think he's made the right decision.
It's 130 yellow cards for the season for the Croatian referee now as we approach 15 minutes. In fact, we've ticked on to that. A little stoppage in place. Castanos gets a little bit of treatment. Looks like he's going to be okay to continue. And
I don't think it was cynical. I don't think that he tried to take the player out. I think there was a genuine attempt to play the ball.
Free kick will be taken by the keeper. The other match in the group today, remember Scotland in a 5-team group for the first time in a while. For this one, going to go back to the 2010 World Cup qualifiers to find Scotland placed in a 5-team group. That's because Spain, the top seeds, are in the Nations League finals in the summertime. And it's Spain-Norway tonight, 7:45 kickoff in Malaga for that one. That's going to be a huge game in this group, quite clearly. And Cyprus win it back in the midfield with Leifis just to the edge of the centre circle for Kyriakou on the turn, poking it there just to his right for Artimatas, as the Cyprus captain. Castanos has it down the right. Cyprus enjoying some possession in the Scotland half here, though Tierney does well to pinch it back over on that far side off Leifis, and it's cleared by Scotland. Only half away though. Armstrong losing out. Now Cyprus have at the edge of the box, and there's a first shot to deal with for Angus Gunn. Comfortable. It was a little bit of a trundle in the end when it was hit just at the edge of the penalty area by Castanos, who's recovered from that injury just a few minutes ago. And it stays Scotland 0, Cyprus 0, but it's a shot on target for the visitors.
A shot on target, but I'm sure it's one that Angus Gunn will be quite pleased to take as well. Keeps him involved in the game. It's a simple enough save for him.
Ball forward towards Jack. He's not going to get there though, down the near side. The Scotland fans got excited there, and it was always a simple one for Nicolas Ianu to deal with. It's gone out of play for a throw-in to Cyprus, which will be taken level with their own 18-yard line on this near side by Ianu, who's wearing the face mask. Went to Italy last summer, plays in the second tier Serie B. Former Manchester United youth player. He's bowled down this near side. Scotland win it back. Tierney finds Porteous. Level the edge of the circle in his own half, goes back to Hanley. Still no goals. 17 minutes in. The early goal hasn't come for Scotland. Porteous finds Jack, and then out to Hickey on this near side. Under pressure as he does well. 2 Cypriots around him to move it back along the deck to Hanley, and then he shifts it left of the circle for Tierney, and then out to Armstrong. Robertson's gone into a really advanced position ahead of him. Tierney's little chip ball is put out for a throw-in by Kyriakou. Just taken quickly there by Callum McGregor. He knows how to take throw-ins and free kicks quickly, the Celtic captain. Of course, it's in his nature right now. As Hanley finds Porteous. Porteous does well. He's found Hickey down this near side, midway inside the Cyprus half. Runs into trouble though, but it bounces off the defender from McGinn. Left-footed cross ball into the box is headed away. Little cushion header back by Castanos is clever. He's not going to get back onto the return though. Tierney has it in the circle. It's Porteous out to this near side for Aaron Hickey, and infield to Jack, and then back to Hickey on this near side. Hickey playing it forward, bounces back off Ianu and out for a Scotland throw-in, which Adams takes quickly from level with the 18. McGinn looking to return it to Hickey. It breaks back to the keeper, and Dimitriou clears it long. McGregor will pick up the scraps though, dancing out to this near side. McGregor fancies his chances against the defender, then the linesman waving his flag frantically down here. I'm not sure it needed the theatrics from the assistant. Anyway, 19 in, Scotland 0, Cyprus 0, and Cyprus have a free kick for a foul by McGregor down this near side.
I think it just comes from a bit of frustration from McGregor. There's not much in it. You could let that go for the goal kick. I don't think it would have been too much of an issue, but you can see there's probably an air of frustration across the Scotland squad just now, because the way they're playing, things aren't opening up as quickly or as positively as they might want. And I think that's where you need moments to have that patience, to move the ball, to keep working it across. Maybe look to try and get that switch of play in if you possibly can, to really move the Cypriot team and get them covering the distances. Just now it's just forced centrally for Scotland. They're not utilising the wide areas as much as they could.
Armstrong rolls it out to the left there for Robertson. Level with the circle in his own half. The edge of it goes long with the left foot. The loose ball might break Adams' way. It does. Here's McGinn. Way down the left goes Armstrong. Level with the Cyprus penalty spot. Digs the cross out. Bit too much on it though for Adams and for Jack. And that does allow Ianu to come away with it, but he runs into trouble and Porteous finds Jack. Jack on the turn goes down. No free kick. The referee's not interested in the Scottish appeals. It's Castanos. Jack's still on the deck as it's moved out to Ianu on the near side. It's a poor ball from him straight to McGregor, and now it's with Robertson in the centre circle back to Hanley. 20 minutes played in this one. Scotland 0, Cyprus 0 here on Sports Sound across all the frequencies.
I didn't think that was
Radio Scotland.
Yeah, Liam, I didn't think that was a free kick, to be honest.
It's a lovely little ball to Robertson, left-hand side of the box. It takes a deflection and McGinn's there! Of course John McGinn's there! Super John McGinn's there! For his latest international goal! And that's the first goal for Scotland in these Euro 2024 qualifiers! And who else but Steve Clarke's number 7 to prod it home. The deflected cross found him, and it's the simplest of tasks, and it's Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
Brilliant play. Spoke about the wide areas, great through ball, lovely delivery, as you say. The deflection though, Liam makes it, and John McGinn is exactly where you would want him to be. Midfielders getting beyond, he does really well. It's a comfortable finish.
It is, yeah. I mean,
they're checking it. There was a really tight decision coming up here as far as an offside's concerned.
It's Andy Robertson, isn't it? I think they're checking. John McGinn's not offside. I think Andy Robertson might be offside with the initial pass to him, and then he puts a cross in. It takes that long, but normally the deflection takes it away from you. It takes it right onto the boot of John McGinn. It couldn't have fallen any more perfect for him, but for me, that's what they're checking. They're checking Andy Robertson, I think. But we'll soon find out.
Scotland have been the beneficiaries of many a VAR decision since it was implemented. Is this one going to stand though? It's a lengthy check so far. It's very tight. I've seen one replay. Here comes another opportunity for the guys to see it. Gogic is the Cyprus defender. It's so tight.
Very tight. There's a defender deeper than Gogic though, I think, just marginally.
The second one, they just froze the second cross. It's fine. The one that found McGinn, it's the previous pass to Robertson down the left that they are putting under the microscope here. What's your take, Leanne? You're not pretty good. Oh, he's given it, yeah! He's given it! I was just about to ask Leanne, he's got a pretty good record with VAR checks. But we don't need to, because it's been given. And John McGinn, his scoring for this Scotland team is just magnificent. It really is. And that's his latest one. He's got the most goals of anyone since Steve Clarke took over, and that is his 16th for his country, and that takes him above McFadden and Robert Hamilton indeed as well. James McFadden beaten, and he's now just 2 behind Kenny Miller and 3 behind Ali McCoist. He's just such a talisman for this team.
He's outstanding. Just listen to the stadium just now, how much they appreciate him. His goals, his performances, he's been superb in a Scotland jersey. He's a top performer at club football. He's a top performer, but for Scotland, he's outstanding. He's a brilliant role model as well. He certainly is a talisman in this team.
Scotland off and running, lift off in Group A. Cyprus in possession here with Artemakis though, and it's played out to the right hand side. Low effort, it sails well wide. It was a side-footed shot from the right hand side of the D, about 25-30 yards from goal, and it goes well past, and Scotland have the lead. 23.5 minutes in. It's such an important goal. All these games in this group, there's only 8 matches for Scotland in this group, so they're all going to be so important, home and away, but especially at home and against the bottom seeds, when they cannot afford to drop anything. McGinn wins a free kick meantime. down this near side. There was that lengthy, nervy check, Willie, but the VAR, Ivan Bebek, was happy that Andy Robertson was onside.
Yeah.
And McGinn scores to make it 1-0.
Yeah, Yasley, I wasn't that confident that we were going to get the nod there, to be perfectly honest. Where I'm sitting,
that's why I went to Leanne.
Yeah. You know, I don't know what her thoughts were, but you know, looking at it, looking across the line, I thought marginally, but hey, great, we've got the nod on that one, we've got the decision, and it's about John McGinn. What, you know, incredible the amount of goals that he gets, just being in the right. But it's not just a case of being in the right place at the right time. He's scored some fabulous goals as well. He is that talisman that we're looking for. We don't have to talk about strikers, we can just talk about a goal scoring midfield player, and that's John McGinn.
He made his debut for Scotland 7 years ago in a friendly against Denmark. He was man of the match. We should have known the impact he was going to have, as Tierney picks it up on that left hand side. Now can Scotland turn the screw here? Left hand side of the box, Tierney's cross comes in again, there's a deflection. And it comes out to this near side, where it will go out for a Scotland throw-in, level with the Cyprus penalty spot.
Excellent play again, and it comes from Che Adams. The pockets of space, Willie, that he's dropping into, he's a real problem. And that was when I spoke before the game kicked off, the type of striker performance that you would need to utilise the players that Scotland have got behind, and even to allow the likes of Tierney there, who's interchanged with Robertson, to get beyond. So far he's made a really good contribution, Adams has.
Here's Hickey, little chip ball into the box, goes straight through to the keeper. Chance now to potentially bring in Craig Levein, who's watching this one with us. Craig, a really important moment for Scotland, and yet again that man John McGinn, how important is he for this Scotland side?
He's a marvel, isn't he? I mean, you get, there's certain players when they're in the team and they're starting, and you just know that if he does get an opportunity, there's every chance the ball's going to end up in the back of the net, and that gives the rest of the players confidence as well. But I think Scotland have started really well. He's an opportunity.
It's for Cyprus, long ball which Tierney gets onto, but the offside flag's off anyway. Craig.
Yeah, so no, it's been a really good start for Scotland. Controlled the game. I think it was 15 minutes or 16 minutes before Cyprus had a shot at goal, which was comfortably saved. And I think their game plan is pretty clear, is just to try and be as defensively tight as possible. And Scotland have played well so far. I think Steve will be really happy.
Craig Levein, former Scotland manager, here on Sports Sound. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. It's Castanos coming forward. He runs into Hanley, and the loose ball breaks Hickey's way, but Cyprus pinch it back. Little flick by Pitas in the middle, and then wow, that's been lashed from about 35 yards with the left foot, which has gone over the ball from, it was Arti Matas who hit it, the anorthosis midfielder, and dips over the crossbar, and Angus Gunn is relieved about that. He was off his line.
It wasn't that far off his line. I mean, it drifts past the crossbar and the post. But
some hit though.
Yeah, it was. It was real opportunistic, if I can say that word properly. It was. That really caught Angus Gunn just maybe about 7 or 8 yards off his line. But fortunately, it drifted past.
Throw in Scotland over on the far side. Ball back to McGregor, level with the Cyprus 18 as Scotland do some more attacking here. Rolled back the way to Jack. Jack's got his Celtic rival Callum McGregor at close quarters as he gives it to McGregor, back to Hanley inside his own half, to the left for Tierney. On the touchline is Armstrong. Tierney instead squares it infield to Jack. Jack's got Armstrong and Tierney out left, goes back to Tierney, low ball, Armstrong in behind the defender. They're pulling the Cypriots about on that far side brilliantly so far. Back to Tierney, level with the 6, crosses in, almost fell to McGinn again. An important header away by Roberge, collected by Hickey on this near side. Scotland looking for a quick fire second here. Porteous finds McGregor, and out to Armstrong again. They can do some serious damage down that left. They've got world-class players down that left-hand side, of course, as Tierney finds Robertson. Robertson finds Armstrong, he's inside the box, pushed back out of it now to Robertson, then back out to the touchline for Tierney, level with the Cyprus penalty spot, short to Robertson, to Armstrong, to Robertson, cross comes in again, there's a deflection as it loops away from Hickey and Adams, and Cyprus will pick up on this near side with Ianu, who looks to clear, and he does well because it's come off Hickey, but it hasn't actually gone out of play. It's still in with Porteous. McGregor loses out on the near side, and it's picked up here by Kriakou, and then Arti Matas, and back to the edge of his own box. Gogic slips it to Koussoulos.
It's really impressive down that left-hand side, doesn't it? I think Andy Robertson and Armstrong, Stuart Armstrong are linking really well, but you know, when Kieran Tierney then decides to, you know, join them and make it a trio, then, you know, the Cypriots just don't have an answer for it. They're almost like spectators just watching the ball get popped round about them.
Yeah, you love to see it, those two down that far side. It just gives you so much confidence. I mean, Tierney loves defending as well as attacking, and it's a really potent combination when you play that position, albeit Tierney playing as the more defensive of the two, if you like, on the left-hand side of the back three, with Robertson in the left wing-back role. Long ball by Dimitriou, the Cypriot keeper. Underneath it's Porteous, wins the header. Then Arti Matas heads it forward. Hanley gets onto it, McGinn with a little cushion header for Armstrong. He's away from a couple of challenges. Such a graceful player, Stuart Armstrong. He couldn't quite prod it through to his Southampton colleague Adams, though. And McGregor does well to win it back for the Scots off Kyriakou in the centre circle. Here's Jack. Couldn't find McGinn. Won by Roberge. And it breaks into the Scotland half for Hanley. Goes back to Angus Gunn. On the half hour, Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
What's really impressing me, Liam, is the work rate of the team. We spoke about getting the ball back in play as quickly as they possibly can. Players like McGregor, who are very used to that, certainly with regard to their club football. But across the pitch, when they lose it, they're trying things at times that's perhaps risky, or you're forcing it centrally, as I mentioned. But if it doesn't come off, the desire to go and win the ball back is excellent, and they're managing to do that. Scotland, they're outnumbering Cyprus all over the pitch, and at times it is frustrating when you play in games like this where you dominate possession. You almost feel like you should be able to go forward a lot quicker and effectively. At times offside, frustrating from Robertson, there's no need for that. But I think Andy Robertson a moment ago was just saying to the defensive player, just calm down, just keep the ball, keep it moving, make it really difficult for Cyprus to defend against, and the opportunities will start to present themselves.
31 on the clock here at the National Stadium. Scotland have found opening day victories hard to come by. They beat Malta in the World Cup qualifiers under Gordon Strachan back in 2016, but it's a rare victory on match day 1. Castanos goes down, he's got the free kick, and it's going to be another yellow here. No, he's been booked for diving. It is another yellow, but it's for the Cypriot Castanos, who's protesting. And it stays Scotland 1, Cyprus 0, and it's the Cypriot who goes into the Croatian referee's book.
Yep, and rightly so, in my opinion. I don't think there's any contact whatsoever. You know, we're watching a replay there, and that confirms it. He goes down, he deserves it. You know, he's trying to seek that advantage. You know, he's still trying to defend, you know, that undefensible position that he's in. Take the yellow card, walk away, you died.
You could see the front of his left boot was dragging along the grass as he made his way down. And the angle from the north stand makes it look even worse for Castanos.
It's actually a brilliant decision from the referee.
Yeah.
And I would need to say a couple of times when the Cypriot players have gone to ground, they really are quite theatrical. You can understand it, especially with the use of VAR, that players try and make the most of these types of challenges to allow and force the referees to have a decision to make. But the referee's spot on there. Big call, book a player for diving. Hopefully it nips it in the bud.
32 and a half on the clock. Here's Hickey. Scotland 1 up in Glasgow on match day 1. There's Callum McGregor in the centre circle. He showed way too much of it to Giannis Pitas there. Cyprus have it back. Little short ball played to Laifis, the central midfield player. It's back to Kasoulos. It's passed into the Scotland half, has gone straight through to Hanley, and now it's with Jack. Forward to McGinn, first time with the outside of the boot. Kasoulos is underneath it with the head, and then Arti Matas plays it to his left. There's a long ball forward from Kyriakou, and Angus Gunn holds on to it eventually on the deck. His bobble between his knees there, and he gets his gloves on it. 33 played, Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
It's a little bit nervous moment, isn't it, really? You know, he's coming out, it's on the edge of the box, he's uncertain whether he can pick it up. He puts the brakes on, and unfortunately for him, the studs just come away from him. So we're talking about the pitch being in very good condition. Maybe that little spot over there, Angus Gunn will have a different opinion in that. He went down, and a little bit of good fortune, actually. It didn't fall for the Cypriot player that was in attendance.
Yeah, if anyone could be done without a mistake today, it's Angus Gunn, as McGinn is chopped to the ground on the halfway line, right of the centre circle. Scotland free kick. McGregor takes it quickly along the halfway line to Tierney. And then he moves it out to Robertson on the far side touchline. Robertson will win the throw off Kasoulos, takes it quickly, bowling it back to Tierney. 11 minutes of the first half remaining. It's a slick surface. It's been a heck of a lot of rain in the last 48 hours as that's clipped into the Cyprus box. McGinn might be in again. The goalkeeper collides with him, and the decision goes the way of the Cyprus keeper as McGinn and he collided just on the 6-yard line, and it stays Scotland 1, Cyprus 0 on 34 and a half.
Yeah, I think it was right. Just watching it, the goalkeeper doesn't deal with the situation particularly well, but John McGinn gets nothing of the ball. He got his hand to it
before McGinn got there.
Yeah, he did get his hand to it, and there was a collision. I think if John McGinn had any chance of getting that ball, or if he'd made contact with it, then I would have a different opinion. But I think, Leanne, what do you think on that one? I don't think the goalkeeper handled it particularly well. But at the same time, I think it was a free kick.
No, I think it's a free kick. I don't think there's as much contact right enough as his goalkeeper's making out that he stayed down and needed to receive some treatment. I think it was just a clash of legs as McGinn tried to put the brakes on. Probably brave goalkeeping to a point to come out and at least get a hand to it, because it's another dangerous ball. Just takes the pressure off for a couple of minutes, just slows the game down.
Goalkeeper himself will take the free kick along with the right foot into the Scotland half. Underneath it's Portes. It's a really good header. Armstrong first time out to Adams on this near side. Adams looking for Armstrong in behind here. Bouncing ball's awkward. It just evaded Stuart Armstrong. He was almost in. Cyprus didn't get out there for a throw in on this near side. That's that Southampton understanding between the two.
I think they've got a VAR check, possibly, not sure what they're checking, but the referee has got the finger to the ear. But it's good interchange from Armstrong and Adams. That partnership, one comes short, the other goes beyond.
It's a brilliant ball as well, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
Instinctive.
Not sure what they were looking at, but it's game on again. Hickey with a throw in level with the Cyprus penalty spot on the near side to McGinn. Back to Hickey. And then Jack holding off his man, finds Portes. Now Hickey again, low ball in field to Jack. Little triangle there, and Jack's dug it out there to Armstrong. Plays it to Tierney. Tierney controls, looking for Robertson again over on that left-hand side. Robertson level with the edge of the D to Armstrong. A misunderstanding with Robertson this time. He was expecting the run, it didn't come, and Cyprus get it away, but only as far as Armstrong. Again, he's got an unexpected second chance here. Crosses in, headed behind by Kasoulos for Scotland's latest corner as they look for a second. They already lead 1-0 as we approach 37 minutes at the National Stadium.
I don't mind that from Armstrong, Willie, because I don't think he had too much on, but he recognised there was 3-4 bodies inside the box. I think he just tries to whip it, takes the deflection, certainly defended well and behind for another corner, but you just want to keep this pressure on, play in this final third as much as you possibly can, and the opportunities will come.
Outswinger from Robertson over in the northeast corner of the stadium, and it comes, it's headed away. It's a really good decisive header there by the big number 19 Leifis. As Cyprus come away with Pitas down the right. He's gone down as he slipped. Or is it a foul? He slipped, I think. Scotland have it, and it's Robertson forward to McGinn. Robertson continuing his run. Here he goes. He's got it into his stride, driving forward. Kasoulos defends it well, though, and wins it back for the visitors. Low ball clear into the midfield for Arte Matas. And out to the right-hand side for Antoniou. Infield for Pitas, who's hauled to the deck by Hanley. And that's a free kick to Cyprus right at the centre circle. They've taken it quickly. And they try and catch the Scots out, but they've got enough numbers back now to the hosts. Cyprus have it in the centre circle. The ball's played out to this left-hand side for Konstantinos Leifis. Back infield to Kyriakou. And back to Gogic. Rolls it to Kasoulos to his right, then out to that right-hand touchline for Antoniou. Level with the edge of the centre circle, goes back to Kasoulos inside his own half, and now it's with Gogic. 7 to half time, less than that, but 6.5 in fact. Scotland leading by a goal to nil on match day 1 in Group A in these Euro 2024 qualifiers.
It's a good bit of possession just now. It's the only possession they've really had from the visitors so far this afternoon. Scotland taking a little bit of breather. Don't blame them, to be perfectly honest. The tempo, so far in the game, the quality of play, the the goal that's been taken as well. I think they thoroughly deserve to be in the lead. They haven't created too many opportunities, but they've certainly dominated the game.
Yeah, not so long ago they were touching 70% in the possession. Cyprus seeing a bit more of the ball here as that goes back to Kasoulos over on that right-hand side. And Mario levelled things for the Cypriots when they were here almost 4 years ago. Picked up by the Cypriots with Roberge on this near side. Out to this near side for Leifis. Goes back to Gogic. Takes a touch, goes back to his keeper, and it's smashed forward by Dimitriou up to the edge of the centre circle in the Scotland half. There's a foul by Pitas, and that's a free kick to the Scots. An infringement on Hanley. It's back with Angus Gunn in the all-yellow goalkeeper kit. Hanley playing it short to Tierney.
Yeah, Pitas just jumping into Hanley as he looked to try and win that aerial duel. Hanley certainly comes out on top. But it's good play from Scotland. Just be patient, you know, out of possession, as well. He said, just recover. At times you don't need to dominate the ball all the time. You don't need to go gung-ho and try and play forward every single time. Just force Cyprus into making those errors themselves.
Here's a chance though. Castanos almost managed to thread it through to Pitas, in behind Hanley, who reacts well. And Robertson finds Armstrong. Now he's on his bike. Off he goes. Stuart Armstrong eating up the pitch in front of him down that left-hand side. Has to check his run because of Kasoulos. Rolls it back the way, and then it's won back to Kyriakou. It's really poor, actually, from Scotland on that occasion. It's won back in the midfield by Jack. I'm not sure if there was a misunderstanding over there. Armstrong passed it back the way, and it looked like it was for Robertson. Eventually it ended in Cyprus possession, but promising counter fails to bring anything as we approach 41 minutes. Steve Clark down there, his trademark pose with his hands behind his back, beady-eyed, looking out at the game.
He'll be happy though, you know, underneath that facade he will be happy, because his team's playing well. That, you know, I think the attitude has been first class. I'm really enjoying Porteous, by the way. I know he hasn't had too much defensively to do, but I think everything, you know, offensively, whenever he gets the ball, you know, he's on it just now. Hope it's not the curse of the commentator, but passes like that, you know, just very simple passes, but sharp and strong in the right way. You know, inviting John McGinn to, you know, take it properly and go and attack the defenders. I think he's done extremely well. Porteous, really impressed with this first half that he's shown so far.
Pitch is obviously really soft. You could see it was churning up under John McGinn there. He lost his footing, did well to retain the ball. As Tierney plays it forward, looking for Adams, it breaks Armstrong's way through towards Ryan Jack, but he's beaten to it, and it's knocked out into the north stand by Roberge. Maybe a throw into Scotland to be taken by Robertson, just about level with the edge of the D of the Cyprus box as we tick towards 42 minutes here at Hampden. It's with Ryan Jack.
A lovely step over there, Liam, from the referee, getting himself into all the wrong areas.
Yeah, here's Adams, he's found McGinn, chance, looks up at the goal, decides to pass it back to Adams, and it's tipped over the crossbar there by the goalkeeper Dimitriou. I have to say, I thought John McGinn was going to have a go himself there, and Adams tests the keeper. It stays 1-0 to the Scots, less than 3 to half-time.
I think on his left foot he would have done, Liam. I think the fact that it falls on his right, he wasn't too sure. I think he recognised there wasn't too many bodies in there for second balls either, and he just checked back out, tries to put it in a plate for the striker, and it is another corner.
The guy could eat soup with a fork in a Scotland shirt, John McGinn, the way he plays. And he joins his teammates in the middle for Andy Robertson's in-swinging corner with the left boot. And it comes, the goalkeeper thought about coming, there's a couple going down. Tierney's one of them, he's asking the referee for a penalty here. He's still got his arms outstretched. Cyprus get it away. Here's Robertson collecting on the right, having been out here for the corner. His cross is cut out by Ianu. Robertson keeping this going, dinks it back the way, not what he intended. McGregor has to race back towards his own half to get there. He does so though, finds Hickey, and he plays it to the left of the circle for Jack. Now it's with Armstrong, the final 2 of the 45. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. It is Stuart Armstrong, midway inside Cypriot territory, out to the left-hand side for Jack. And then he moves it back onto the halfway line for Hanley. A couple of moments for the Scottish defence, but generally Scotland have dominated, and Tierney gets the break of the ball down the left, low ball back, Robertson hits it first time, and it's a really important block by Valentin Roberge. Jack back to the left angle of the box for Armstrong, it's cut out and Cyprus will be able to clear. And Scotland flicker into life, they are such a dangerous side. as Hanley gets the header, but he's given it straight to Pitas. He was fouled though, says the referee. Gastanos has already been booked, so he probably doesn't want to annoy the yellow card happy Croatian referee. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. We're in the final minute of the opening 45.
I think it probably was a free kick, although at the time I wasn't certain. I'm just waiting to see a replay, but I think Grant Hanley was. He was first to the ball as well, wasn't he? Was it Castanos again, was it, that was at him and caught him late? And
I think Hanley's just smart, Willie, because he knows he's the favourite to go and get the contact in the header, and I think once he makes that contact, he almost just steps into Castanos to take the contact, knowing that it will relieve the pressure. Good defensive play.
There's McGinn with a cushion header to Shea Adams, right hand side. He's managed to slip it through to Hickey. Wasn't anticipating him getting through the legs of the defender. Hickey's back onto it now though. He does well. Good play from Hickey. Now Porteous, slow ball in field to Jack, forward to McGinn. On the turn, out to the right for Aaron Hickey again. Left-footed ball back into the midfield for McGregor, who switches the play out to Tierney on the left. Robertson made his run forwards. Will be 2 minutes added. I thought it'd be more than that for the VAR check after the Scotland goal, but 2 minutes have been added at the end. We're into the first of those. Scotland leading by 1-0. Tierney pokes it into the box. Here's Adams. Does Scotland have another one before half-time? That's Adams going to ground. The challenge by Gogic. Referee gives a corner only.
Well, he's dived in, Gogic. We don't have a great view of it from here because Gogic is in between. Is it Che Adams that he goes to?
Yeah,
but he does dive in on it, and if he has it, he's got the ball though. He's got the ball. It's a good challenge actually. It's a very dangerous challenge, I would suggest. But the ball has moved slightly.
Just.
Yes.
Just.
He's got enough to ensure this isn't a foul.
He's a fair bit from it.
Yeah.
He literally gets his toe to the ball. He gets away with one, Gogic. He does well because he gets really tight to Adams. Adams just drops the shoulder, and I think if Adams actually is able to get across and get the touch himself, it's going to be a stone waller. But he doesn't move his feet. He doesn't get that additional touch.
They are checking it, to be fair. I think, corner, no penalty.
They've got to check that one.
Yeah.
I mean, they really have got to check it because it is marginal, but as Leanne says, if Adams manages to get maybe another step forward, then it could have been a penalty.
Robertson with the resulting corner, headed clear. Again, it's a decisive header, this time Ioannis Kasoulas. And it's picked up by McGregor, who rolls it back into his own half for Hickey. Hickey looks up, long, right-footed ball towards the edge of the Cyprus box, just skips off the head of Ianu and out for a Scotland throw-in, level with the Cyprus 6-yard line. On this near side, deep into the second minute of the 2 that were added on at the end of the first half by the Croatian ref. And Aaron Hickey's over it. This is the last chance to score in the first half. Hickey being forced back the way though. It's found Porteous. He goes back into his own half for Hanley. He's got Angus Gunn out there. There'll be a little bit added on top of that for the check there for the penalty. And Gunn sweeps it out to the far side, just too high for Robertson, and out for a Cyprus throw-in over on the Cypriot right on the north stand side. And there's a throw-in to be taken by Antoniou. He takes it short there to Arti Matas, long ball forwards, won by Hanley as the half-time whistle goes at the National Stadium. A very satisfying opening 45 or 47 minutes as it was to this Euro 2024 qualifying campaign. The Scots desperate to be in Germany next summer. They have to win this game if those dreams are to be realised, you feel, in this 5-team group with some of world football's current superstars on show, and that's out with the top seeds. You consider Holland and Kvaratskhelia are in this group as well, with Norway and Georgia. Scotland know they've got a job to do today. They must pick up 3 points, and John McGinn's 16th international goal has given them a half-time lead here. He took it really well. It was a relatively easy one for him. There was an offside check by the VAR for a possible offside infringement against Andy Robertson, who's deflected cross, found McGinn at the back post. He popped it home, and at half-time it's looking good for the Scots as they look to win an opening European Championship qualifier for the first time in 17 years. Half-time on Glasgow's south side. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
Scotland in the Euro 2024 qualifiers.
Live on Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Over the piece, I think everyone has to accept that was a decent start to the qualifying campaign for Steve Clarke and his Scotland side. Who else but John McGinn with the goal? He's now out in his own 7th in the all-time top scorers list for the national side. One of just 23 players who've got into double figures in the long history of the Scotland national team, and currently only Dalglish, Law, Hughie Gallagher, Laurie Riley, McCoist and Kenny Miller ahead of John McGinn, who sneaked just in front of Robert Hamilton from the black and white days and from James McFadden, who are both on 15. So he's made the difference. Just the one comfortable save for Angus Gunn, a little bit of a nervous slip at one stage when he just about landed on the ball. But that apart, Craig Levine, has it been a very acceptable first 45 minutes to the campaign?
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know exactly what the stats are, Richard, but I'm sure it'll show domination by Scotland up to this point, certainly in possession anyway. And there's been lots of really, really encouraging things. I mean, there's down that left side with Tierney, with Robertson and with Armstrong, there was one point, maybe after half an hour, when the three of them kept the ball. It was like a rondo they were playing down in that corner. I mean, honestly, it was fascinating to watch. But we look like we can score. You know, I know we spoke about not having a striker who can sort of bang them in and be a really high international level. But I think Shea Adams has been really, really good today. His link-up play's been excellent. He's made some really good runs in behind that haven't been noticed. We look really solid at the back. The two wing backs are high. I mean, our left centre back is high. I mean, there's a lot of hugely positive things, and we haven't had any real issues at all defensively.
No.
The one thing I would mention is that the pitch does look like it's cut. I don't know if it's just it lacks a bit of integrity, but it looks like that there's quite a few players slipping. That's something that players would just need to be a little bit aware of in the second half.
Yeah, I've seen that particularly on this right side of the pitch, actually. A few players going down just below us. In terms of the stats, Craig, 65% possession for Scotland. It's showing of 365 passes, 313 have been completed. They have made 365 passes, Cyprus 159. So, I mean, it all points to a fairly serious domination of the game. 90 attacks to Cyprus's 24. Half the Scotland attacks have been deemed dangerous. Not quite sure how they assess that. But anyway, Tom English, your take on the opening 45?
Yeah, positive. I mean, it's not a classic, is it? But Scotland are dominating the match. Got the goal from you-know-who, and they kind of haven't looked back. I mean, they're not creating a huge amount, but they own the ball, as we kind of hoped that they would. But they are delivering a decent performance. You'd hope that they add another goal, maybe two in the second half, as the concentration levels of Cyprus, you know, they've been decent. Concentration levels have been decent. Can they maintain that for 90 minutes if they're under the same type of pressure? That's questionable. You'd fancy Scotland to go on and score again, but it's been fine. It's been fine.
Yeah, we talked a lot beforehand about the two wing backs. Hickey's been getting up. In fact, he was up more prominently initially. But then everything came down the left, but it wasn't the wing back. It was the left-sided central defender who was given most of the width, wasn't it?
Yeah, inevitably. Look, there's some very good Scotland players out there, and they actually look, even though they're not, creating buckets of chances, they actually look like they're relishing it, don't they? They look like they're enjoying it out there. And I think the attitude has been excellent. It always helps when you get a fairly early goal. And you reeled out the stats for McGinn there. It's just astonishing, I mean, we talked about pre-match about Scotland's lack of a striker. Well, he's effectively a striker for Scotland, McGinn.
Yeah, I mean, he's now within touching distance for the national team of both Kenny Miller and Ali McCoist.
Yeah, sure, out and out strikers. So McGinn, he's not playing in that position, but he's getting the goal returns of a thoroughbred goal scorer.
I don't know what you think about this, Tom, but I like when he plays further forward. When they employ him deeper, I think we lose something in an attacking sense. I think that McGregor and Jack do that deeper role.
Don't need to play back.
They do that role really, really well. They keep the ball really well. They get the ball back. really well. Both of them cover a huge amount of ground, and I love to see John McGinn playing higher up, because he definitely has a sense for goal, doesn't he, for getting into the penalty box and finishing.
He's fantastic. And I mean, you mentioned Shea Adams. I think Shea Adams, again, selfless role. I think really, really good. Doing an amount of running, going wide, creating space for others. I think he's been very, very good in that kind of understated way.
There's a goal here for him, because he has got for me anyway, he's got the pace on Gogic for sure, you know, and quite often it's a one for one situation, and if we can get the right pass through for him, I think he'll have a chance of scoring today. It's a good opportunity for him. But I mean, I think he's been really good. He's led the line really well, and
he's been involved in the box. And actually, right at the end, they're very unlucky, because he almost got the turn on Gogic, and Gogic dived in, and literally it was a toenail just about got the ball. Correct decision. It wasn't a penalty, but Gogic was, well, it was touch and go as to whether he was going to get to it. Stuart Armstrong's been outstanding, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's played really well. I mean, how could you not play well with those two round about you when he's got... But honestly,
you might get a bit overawed, I suppose, with those two around you. But he's been involved in virtually everything, Stuart, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, he showed one searing turn of pace, didn't he, up the left-hand side there. And yeah, when he's in the mood, Richard, I think he's a really difficult player a very elegant player, Tom.
Very elegant, extremely. Lovely runner.
Yes, yeah.
Graceful runner.
And good composure in the penalty box as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things about this that are really good. I think we need another couple of goals, and I think everybody would go home happy.
And Armstrong hasn't had a great old time with his club. You know, it's been a battle with his club, but he's turned up here, and inevitably, because I think Armstrong is a terrific professional. He's a fine footballer, but a really good pro, tough cookie, and a favourite of Clark. I thought either Christie or maybe Lewis Ferguson was going to play, and maybe he wasn't going to start, but Clark has done what Clark normally does. He rewards the players who deliver for him, and Armstrong has been a very loyal servant for Clark over the last while.
So second after they come out and look to do something very similar. Craig, I'm trying to draw that question out as you finish your mouthful of pie.
I can't see them coming out and going all out attack in the second half. They'll wait, and they'll maybe try and nick a goal, and they might just still defend right to the last 10-15 minutes, and then make a change then if they need to. But I don't know if they've got an awful lot. I don't see anything that I'm particularly worried about.
Cyprus.
No, Cyprus, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely no.
Yeah, no, and Scotland have got plenty to come off the bench. Different types of players. You could put Dykes in there, Christie, Billy Gilmer, for a little bit of class, although hasn't been playing a lot of football. But there are different options that Clark can go with. Big Dykes, what are the chances he'll come on and score a goal? That would be my prediction.
It wouldn't be a surprise to see him come on at some stage, would it? Yeah. And also there is, if he can get to the point where this game is fine, then he's got Spain to think about, and that maybe allows him to. Yeah.
That's why he needs another goal or two.
Yeah,
quickly.
But it's been fine. I think you described it as.
I think it's fine. Yeah, absolutely fine. I wouldn't go overboard. But if they add another goal, they get out of here with a 2-0 grand. You move on to Tuesday night. That's when fine won't be sufficient. Fine won't cut it on Tuesday.
No, probably not. The other thing that the guys picked up on commentary was how quickly Scotland were winning the ball back, which is a good sign. It's a sign of a confident team, isn't it? Right, okay, we've lost it, but we're just going to get it right back again.
Yeah, a focused team, hard-working team, an honest team, actually.
And I think they are an athletic team as well.
Team, yeah. I think they're an honest bunch of players, these, and they're working hard for each other. You can see that. You're dead right. There is a great work ethic there. Just let's see another, because it's a big crowd, for Cyprus. This place is, well, you said it was a sellout.
Yeah,
for Cyprus. I mean, so, be nice to see the fans rewarded with another goal or two, wouldn't it? I think they deserve it to be coming out today for this game in huge numbers.
Yeah, just watching the subs warming up, be interesting to see how many of them we see in the second half. I was actually looking back the last time we played Cyprus here under Steve Clark, well, the home game, Steve's first game in charge. It's only 3 players who are in the starting lineup that day that are in the starting lineup today: Jack, McGinn and McGregor. Pretty remarkable.
Eamon Brophy started up front.
Wow.
Yeah, Eamon Brophy started up front. That's his first game. Clark's first game.
Christie started that day as well, and of course he may be involved, but it shows there's been a bit of a turnover over the course of the 3.5 years that he's been in charge.
Yeah.
But so many of these players, the other point he was making beforehand was it's the experience of the team. This is by no means as experienced a lineup as some he's put out, because there are some players. I mean, obviously you're looking at just a second cap for Porteous, a first cap for Gunn. I mean, if you put in Gunn for Craig Gordon, then there's a fair whack of caps that you're taking out of the team. There, Aaron Hickey only winning cap number 7. Amazing to think that Ryan Jackett's still just cap number 15. And Ryan's
is
now,
that all? I didn't realise.
31 Ryan now.
That's quite something.
But injuries have played a part in that, and also
A lot of competition
for places.
Yeah, that's been for a long time. Even when things weren't so good for Scotland, the midfield, there was no shortage of decent midfielders in there.
But the core is there, and there are players who have picked up a lot of experience over a number of years, and certainly quite a few of those have been staples during the manager's time in charge. He'll be looking for a bit more in the second half, get those 3 points, and then they can start to focus on Spain. We'll look ahead to that in the latter part of the programme. Sports Sound, Sunday Sports Sound tomorrow afternoon. We'll have plenty of time to reflect on all the international action. We'll also have live for you the Challenge Cup final, which kicks off at 4:15. Wraith Rovers against Hamilton. We'll have that one live to round things off for this weekend, right across the game we all love, and the national team are halfway towards kicking off with a victory. Can't imagine there'll be any great nerves among Steve Clarke's backroom staff right now, but they'll be cautious to an extent, Craig, because they know one goal at any level.
It's a slender lead.
Yeah.
And one mistake can cancel that out pretty quickly. So, and with it, we've spoken about the state of the pitch, and that, I mean, the situation when Angus Gunn came out to the edge of his box, and he wasn't sure whether to kick it or pick it up. Put the brakes on at the last minute, and the ground sort of gave way underneath him, and he landed on top of the ball.
It's actually lucky that he landed with the ball between his
thighs.
That's
right. It could have gone anywhere, actually. So, you know, that's all it takes. You know, one mistake, they get a goal, and then defend for their life for the rest of the match, and we're in a difficult situation. So the second goal for me is essential. The sooner the better. I
don't want to make a hostage to fortune here, but I am completely calm about this. About, you know, before we say, oh, the longer it goes, you might get suckered. I don't feel that with this Scotland team.
Well,
you're looking at me and saying, I wish you hadn't said
Scottish.
that.
There you go.
What are you saying? Be quiet.
Like, so far there haven't been any. There were one or two moments. Grant Hanley certainly made sure he got a free kick awarded in his favour when he might have been under a bit of pressure. That apart, they've handled it. Willie's been lapping up Ryan Porteous, who has been as
he's been good, Richard,
wholehearted as ever. Yeah,
Willie's
and positive
as usual.
Yeah, absolutely positive. There's going to be a change for Cyprus at half-time. Danilo Spoljaric coming on for the second half. Castanos, who has been supporting Pitas, was booked for an outrageous dive. Whether he'll be the man to go, we'll find out, I guess, in the next little while. But there will be a different threat for the Scotland central defenders and for Angus Gunn to contend with in the second 45 minutes. Players still out there, the subs still out there, just wrapping things up, and one or two of them may well be involved come Tuesday night. They may be involved in the second half, of course, but there could be a starting berth on Tuesday night for some of those players. It is Scotland against Spain, 7:45 kick-off on Tuesday, live with us here on Sports Sound as the Scotland players make their way back out for the second half, led by the captain, Andy Robertson. It has been, so far, so good in the sense that there have been no real scares. And we have the lead, thanks, of course, to John McGinn and his 16th international goal, which came in the 21st minute of the match. So Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. The players emerging and getting ready for the second half of action as we kick off Group A in the Euro 2024 qualifiers. It's back to full live commentary here on Sports out of BBC Radio Scotland with Leanne Crichton, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
This is the 8th meeting between Scotland and Cyprus. The Scots have won all 7 meetings between them, scoring 24 goals to the concession of just 6 coming into this one. It's now 25 in 7.5, thanks to that John McGinn goal. Kasoulas, incidentally, off and replaced by Danilos Filjaric, who's another Upper Linimensol player. He faced Aberdeen in a Europa League qualifier a few years ago as a youngster. He's 23 now, he was a teenager. He came up against Aberdeen, and his dad, along with the father of Alex Gogic, both scored goals in Cyprus's most impressive qualifying victory, which was against Spain in 1998, as the Cypriots get the game underway in the white shirts, blue shorts, white socks, going left to right. Scotland in the navy jersey, which has been much talked about over the last few days. White shorts, red socks. Robertson with a foul, apparently, down in the near side, according to the Croatian referee. And that's going to be a free kick for a foul on Roberts on this near side. No changes for the Scots, so it's Gunn in goal, Porteous, Hanley, Tierney, Hickey and Robertson wide, Jack and McGregor in the middle, Armstrong and McGinn supporting Adams as the Scots come forward. Goal scorer McGinn out to Armstrong on this near side, left hand side of the Cyprus box. His cross is blocked. He's got a second chance to win it back, though. He does enough to get it towards McGregor, but it breaks off the Scottish player last and out for a throw-in to the Cypriots on this near side. I suppose a second goal is what Steve Clarke wants, nice and early in the second half, to make this as stress-free an afternoon as possible, Leanne.
Well, that would be the ideal scenario if you can get it sooner rather than later, but I think they'll be looking for much of a same performance from the first half, with that level of control in possession, working Cyprus, making sure that it's difficult to play against, looking to create opportunities and openings, but at the same time not giving Cyprus any sort of incentive to get themselves level and back in the game. Whether the goal comes now or it comes in the 89th minute, I don't think Steve Clarke will be too concerned. But I think the guys mentioned at half-time, if you could get the game almost, signed, sealed, delivered, it allows you to make those changes with a view to Tuesday.
And get some confidence up ahead of an altogether more difficult, formidable challenge against Spain here on Tuesday. As Hickey picks up wide on the right, gets some help from McGinn. Infield it comes to Jack, and out to the right hand side for Porteous. To Hickey, level the edge of the D of the Cyprus box on the far side, stinks it back up the line for Ryan Jack. No ball for Armstrong, but Gogic read it and clears. Pittas looking to get on to Hanley, who's the coolest man in Mount Florida there, as he dragged the ball away from Pittas, who was rampaging his way forward there. Any mistake he would have been in as the Scots come forward with McGinn, right hand side of the Cyprus box, just holding off his man, trying to lay it back. Good challenging there by Hickey, almost managed to win it back after McGinn's pass was short, and then there's a foul by Porteous over on the far side, and that's a free kick to Cyprus. 1-0 to the Scots, 47.5 on the clock.
Yeah, I think Steve Clarke obviously will be hoping that second goal goes in, but whenever he discuss situations like this, he'll be feeling that they're well on top, they're controlling the game, and he'll be pretty confident that if that goal doesn't come, the end result will be 3 points and 1-0. But yeah, I think all the fans and everybody associated with Scotland wanting them to win will be looking at this and suggesting, I think it's a free kick, isn't it?
Hanley brought down by Pittas again. He's having to be careful there because he's the last man up against Pittas, and he's done well this time. He draws the foul, wins the free kick. It's played out to Robertson on the near side. He goes back to the edge of his own box for Hanley. Since we last saw Cyprus in that qualifying group, in the last European Championship qualifying group, they've only won 2 of their competitive games in the World Cup qualifiers, and then in last year's Nations League, albeit that was against their group winners, Greece. It's picked up on this near side by the Cypriots, and it is Kyriakou switching it to the left of the circle, where it's collected by Leifis out to the left hand side for Iyanu, who's the left wing back for the visitors, and there's another Cyprus free kick for a little push there by Aaron Hickey. Bit of obstruction.
I don't think you can have too many complaints, but it comes from Scotland initially, Liam, giving the ball away, and it's Kieran Tierney that was caught in two minds. Andy Robertson went looking to go beyond. Kieran Tierney hesitated, he didn't play the pass, he then took another touch into the middle of the pitch. By that point it was too late, and you give away cheap possession.
Here's Armstrong driving forward, Adams ahead of him, finds him. Gogic trying to force him out wide. It's Adams left hand side of the Cyprus box, waiting for an option in navy blue. His attempted cross is cut out, breaks back the way of Adams, finds Robertson, dinking it back towards Adams, left hand side of the box. Heavy touch from Adams. I think that's gone over the line, has it? Well, it's a corner's been given. It looked like a goal kick. But he's obviously kept him in play, and that's going to be a corner kick to the Scots down in the near side.
Looked
good
well out,
work by Adams.
It looked out. It looked very much out. It was a really heavy touch from Adams, well, I suppose the whole ball wasn't over the line, but normally it would be out.
Yeah. Short one by Robertson to McGregor, back to Robertson. He just showed too much of it to the defender, but he's drawn another corner in quick succession here. The Scotland captain. He went ages without providing an assist for the national team. He scored a few, but he went a long time, most of his caps actually, before he managed an assist. He's managing it just about every game just now. He looks to take an outswinger with the left foot, bends it into the back post. There's nobody there in Scottish colours though, on that far side of the box, and it's an easy clearance by Pitas, but he's put it out for a Scottish throw-in. Level with the edge of the D of the Cyprus box, taken quickly by Jack. To Hanley, then to Hickey. Back to Hanley over on that far side, onto the touchline for Jack, infield for Hickey, and back into his own half for Porteous. 5.5 into the second half, Scotland continuing to lead by 1-0. There's Jack down that right-hand touchline for Hickey, infield for McGregor. Hickey made a run, McGregor delayed the pass, but gets it to Hickey. Now it's back with Jack at the edge of the box. Chip ball forwards, cut out. Cyprus emerge with it. Not keeping the ball at all well, Cyprus though, but there's another foul on this near side, this time by Robertson, as he brings Kostanos crashing to the deck, and that's a free kick to Cyprus, which they've taken quickly. 51 on the clock, Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
Yeah, they really haven't shown anything, have they, Cyprus, in terms of a threat so far in the game. Anyway, it's maybe dangerous to start saying things like that. You know, quite a bit of this game still to play, but really they haven't. It's been quite an easy afternoon up to this point for Scotland. They've just got to keep the tempo up, the pressure up, and you know, the belief up. It looks as though they've got that belief, and I think, you know, eventually they'll come out. Whether it's 1-0 or if it's more than that, I'm sure everyone would hope it would be more than that, but at the same time, total control of this game.
2 wins against Cyprus, 2 against Georgia, 4 points out of Norway, and you're probably talking second place. As Tierney rolls it back to Hanley. Out to the right of the centre circle for Porteous. Onto the touchline there for Hickey. Level with the edge of the centre circle, bundling his way into central area. He's gone down and he gets the free kick there. The ref has also flashed the yellow at Nicholas Ianu for the foul on Hickey. He's complaining that this wasn't even a free kick.
That's no for the foul. He said something as he went by the referee there. The referee was right. He wasn't happy. It was a gesture. You know, I think it is a free kick, yeah, but it's not a yellow card free kick, is it?
I don't think there was too much in it, right enough, Willie. I think Aaron Hickey get his feet tied together as he looked to try and take that extra touch. I'm looking at Scotland just now, sorry Liam, I was just going to say, I don't know if Willie, also they could be doing with another forward-thinking midfielder in there, because I look at times the areas that Ryan Jack's taken up where he's maybe 30-40 yards from goal. That's not where he is most effective. I think you could probably sacrifice Jack at this stage of the game and look to try and get one more on, whether it's a Gilmour or a Lewis Ferguson. I think Tom mentioned him at the top of the show, somebody that's going to give you more of an attacking threat than Ryan Jack is just now, because you need something to go and unlock this Cyprus defence, certainly in that attacking final third for Scotland.
Yeah, you could do it with either of them as well, because you know, both McGregor and Jack could just sit there in the midfield and be the anchor. Probably you don't want to take McGregor off for obvious reason. I think it would be Ryan Jack.
The Cypriot goalkeeper, he's under pressure here with Adams in close attendance. He does enough to flick it out to this near side, where it's collected by Roberts. He clears eventually with the left foot, flicked on into the Scotland hat, but Hanley's there to knock it back to Gunn on his Scotland debut, wearing the number 1 shirt. We've seen a lot of that over the next few campaigns. Angus Gunn is the number 1 choice. It's Scotland winning it back over on the far side. Infield, Hickey to McGregor, and back out to Jack. Low ball forward for McGinn, who was brought down. The referee's not given the free kick though. Cyprus have it. The Scotland fans having a go. Steve Clark's having a go at the 4th official down here. McGinn went down. Gogic picks up at the edge of his own box, plays it to Ianu. Into the midfield, a heavy touch. McGinn wins it back for the Scots. Robertson forward to Adams, looking to get it into his stride, but Gogic with a really important last-ditch intervention to prevent Shea Adams a running on goal. It stays 1-0 Scotland on 54.5.
Gogic recovers well because Adams takes a good touch in the half turn, but it comes from that press from Scotland, really aggressive. Andy Robertson reacted to the fact that John McGinn didn't get the free kick that he was looking for, and you just force those errors. I think when you go as a team and you go as a collective unit, that's exactly what you'll do. But as I say, Gogic does really well.
Tierney switching the play left to right to Hickey. Hickey now faced by Ianu, moves infield, a dink ball, but it's away from all the Scottish players again, and it goes behind harmlessly for the goal kick to the Cypriots as we tick on to 55 minutes at the National Stadium. Grey skies above now, but it's the conditions are great for a game, Willie. How do you, I heard Craig and Tom perhaps, I think, talking about the pitch at half time there. What do you make of it? Is it impinging on the players' ability to be an attacking threat in many areas?
Well, I think it is a problem. I think it's pretty soft underfoot. You can see a number of players not being confident with it. It's not in bad condition, I wouldn't say, but I think you've got to be wary of it. You've got to make sure that you're concentrating. You switch off, you try to turn direction. There's been, I think, at least 4 or 5 occasions, Angus Gunn being one of them, where you're just trying to change direction. I don't know what they wear on their feet these days either, whether it's these rubber moulded soles or not, but if you do that, then there's been a number of them slip. So it's not great underfoot. I think the actual conditions absolutely brilliant for a game of football.
Change coming for Scotland here. Leanne, it's enforced as well.
Yeah, Che Adams is on the grass. Lyndon Dykes looks ready and prepared to come on. I don't think you could say no to that at this stage of the game. I think Scotland do need just something different just now. I think Cyprus have adapted fairly well in this second half. They've been a tougher nut to crack, shall we say, and I think having Dykes just gives you that different dimension aerially that I've spoke about. He gives you that outlet, and it allows midfielders to get higher up the pitch as well and go and play off of him. But he's very good with his feet as well. I was going to ask you, Willie, do you think that Hampden pitch is better than Oriam?
I don't know. I'm
worried looking at it.
But it's I mean, what's your, when you see the players going for the ball when they're trying to make a sharp turn, I don't think they're confident.
No, they're not. And you
that.
spoke about the footwear. Most of the players will have on at minimum a mixed stud, which is metal and mould. But I think you're going to need a full stud regardless. But you can see how much it's cutting up, and we've spoken about the players slipping. So probably a consideration certainly towards Tuesday.
Well, this is a concern for Tuesday. Che Adams, who's the striker in the Scotland squad, who plays at the highest level. He scored in his last club game for Southampton. He's going to be replaced by Lyndon Dykes, who'll come on to win cap number 27. Adams forced off. He's got 5 goals from his 23 caps, Adams. Dykes has actually got a better scoring ratio than he does. The big number 9, who's recovered from that horrible bout of pneumonia, comes on. So let's hope Adams is okay, and this is more precautionary than anything else as Hanley gets his head to it again. He's got Pitas in behind him. Pitas wins it back for Cyprus. And it's the Cypriots in possession, worked out there by Kastanos to the left hand side for Ianu.
And by the way, he had to get something on that, didn't he?
Yeah, almost get caught out.
Absolutely. Fortunately, he just got the top of his head on it just to take the pace off and allowed him to recover.
Do you remember the Yarmolenko goal for Ukraine here? Just one long ball went through and he was in behind and scored the opening goal in that World Cup playoff semi. Header from Porteous for the Scots. Robertson flicks on to the halfway line for Armstrong, hooks it over his head looking for Dykes, breaks off Dykes and out for a Cyprus throw-in. Scotland feel it should have gone the other way. 58 on the clock. Scotland began brightly enough in the second half. It's kind of petering out a little bit down there right now. Throw in for the Cypriots, just bowled forward down this near side by Antoniou. And there's a free kick for Scotland, which is taken quickly by McGregor. Steve Clark in conversation with his assistant John Carver down below us. Where Timuri Kitspaya was in for the Newcastle job when they were handing it out on an interim basis. A number of years ago they plumped for Carver rather than Kitspaya. It's a long ball for the Scots, finds Robertson. Keeps it in play down by the corner flag. He's done well there. Rolls it back to Armstrong and infield to McGregor. To Armstrong, chip ball looking for Robertson. Robertson at the byline, first time cross comes in, very deep, too deep. Hickey will try and keep it in play on the north stand side. He's under pressure from Ianu, does well. Back to Porteous, to McGinn, first time to Hickey. Hickey then back to John McGinn, level with the edge of the D of the Cyprus box. crosses in, and it's over Hick, and that's a goal kick, and it stays Scotland 1, Cyprus 0 as we get closer to the hour mark here at Hampden.
You can see what John McGinn was looking to try and do. He's just trying to float it into that back area to allow whether it be Dykes or Armstrong to go and attack, but he gets far too much on it. But it's good play from Hickey down the right hand side, good support play from McGinn underneath it, keeping those numbers in the attacking areas.
It's just looking a little bit frustrating for Scotland, isn't it? You know, you can see it creeping in. The Cypriots have certainly organised themselves particularly well in the second half, looking much better defensively than they were in the first half. And you know, I think Scotland are looking for something a little bit different, something special. You know, a player that can open them up, maybe do something. I don't think there's been enough in the wide areas. But you know, certainly it's a frustrating period. And Cyprus, although they don't look as though they're going to have a threat up top, you just never know.
On ball for Lyndon Dykes. Gogic, the covering player. Gogic does well again. He's had a good game actually. He's Alex Gogic, the St Mirren player. And it's Cyprus, long ball, Antoniou down this right hand side. Cyprus have it about level the edge of the D of the Scotland box. The ball is turned forward by Kiriakou, but it goes out for a throw in, and Andy Robertson will leave it for Tierney. Let's hear what Craig Levine's making of this game right now. As I said, it's kind of slowed down a bit for the Scots since that first few minutes of the second half. And Che Adams, obviously, Craig, that's a blow. We'll hope he's okay for Spain. But what are you making of it right now as it stands? 1-0 up, but
yeah,
a pretty pedestrian performance so far in the second half.
The second half hasn't lived up to the first half for sure. The dominance of the ball hasn't been anywhere near as good. And yeah, I don't know, we've lost our way a little bit, Liam. I don't know what the reason for it is, but and it's not as if Cyprus are causing us any real problems. That isn't an issue. It's just the fact I think our standards have dropped a little bit in the second half. Our attacking play hasn't been quite as quick as it was in the first half. Shea Adams going off was something that obviously is a blow. I don't know how serious that is. Yeah. So things are sort of just slipping a little bit in the second half, and you know, it's important that we get back on track as quickly as possible.
Former Scotland manager Craig Levine there. I see Ryan Christie's been told to go for a warm-up, so he'll be on shortly, I think, as the Scots with Robertson couldn't quite get into the path of McGregor, and it comes right through to Dimitriou. 62 minutes, Scotland leading 1-0, and Christie's the kind of guy who can provide that kind of explosion in the final third.
Absolutely, it would make sense to him, because I actually think out of possession Scotland have lost that impetus to go and win the ball back, and that's why a couple of times Cyprus have been allowed and enabled to play that longer ball, because there's not enough pressure on the ball, even here in the middle of the pitch. Too much time and space for them to go and pick passes and look to loft balls over the top. So I think Christie gives you that pace, energy, enthusiasm in and out of possession.
He's been summoned back after the mini warm-up by Steve Clark, so Ryan Christie's going to be on shortly. Who for, we'll find out. It's the Cypriots with Roberge. Switches the play out to that left-hand side, Skoljaric, and then infield to Marti Matas. And that long-range effort which tipped over the bar towards the end of the first half. Here's Callum McGregor win it back for the Scots, though, in the midfield. To the right-hand side, Hickey forward along the grass to McGregor, back to Hickey. Infield to Porteous. He moves it to Tierney. Tierney looks up, he's looking for Robertson with the long ball here. Can he find them? Yes, he can. Robertson with the cushion header infield, but shows just a bit too much of it there to Antoniou. He clears, and the free kick's going to go Cyprus's way here, just inside the centre circle for a foul on Castanos. He was giving them away in the first half. There's a couple of free kicks in his favour in the second.
And you know, that's the frustrating part of it. The frustrating part of it as well for Callum McGregor. I mean, loads of experience there, but he does make contact, and it is a free kick. He doesn't have to do it. You know, the ball's covered. There's plenty of defenders behind him, but you know, maybe that frustrating. You know, seriously is beginning to creep through. So a goal at this point would be great. Cyprus are certainly a lot better in the second half than they were in the first.
Yeah, they haven't tested Angus Gunn though, which is probably a good thing right now, as Tierney collects the edge of his own box. You hear the Scotland fans just get a little bit frustrated that they're kind of taking their time, the Scotland players. They are 1-0 up, remember, 64 played, and win's a win at the end of the day. As Hickey finds Armstrong on this near side, right in the halfway line. And he moves it back to Tierney. And if this was 0-0, it would be a different kettle of kippers.
Yeah, no, it's been a really poor second half performance, I think, in my opinion. Much better here from Armstrong, right enough.
Here he comes, striving forward, rolls it to the left-hand side of the box. Armstrong across to Robertson, who can't find anyone in the middle, just a bit too much on it. As Hickey it was, who slid in trying to turn it home. It just evaded him, and it stays Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. Scotland's best moment in the second half.
Much better play from Armstrong. I spoke about that central area, getting turned, driving at it. Actually, Robertson's first touch doesn't really do him any favours. He's then overstretching to put it back across the 6, and you mentioned Hickey just couldn't do enough to get on the end of it. It's a huge chance, but much better play from a Scotland perspective. Willie?
Yeah, I mean, you just need someone out there to do something special, and it was Stuart Armstrong. You know, he shows, good control. He turns his opponent in the midfield, and then he drives at the defence, and they're all over the place, to be perfectly honest, and he sets Andy Robertson in.
Cyprus have given it away. McGinn, Armstrong on the edge of the box. He shoots straight at the goalkeeper, who holds on. It was a good enough effort, though, from Armstrong. It's going to be a double change, incidentally, for the Scots. Christie is coming on, but so too Leanna's McTominay.
Yeah, and I think changes are needed because, as I say, this second half just hasn't been good enough. Possibly would expect it to be Ryan Jack, certainly one of them. I did think that it could have been Stuart Armstrong, but he's sprung back into life in the last couple of minutes. But I don't know if Steve Clarke will be set in his decision already by this point. Perhaps just a like-for-like change. Time will tell.
Alan Hickey winning it back for Scotland over on the far side. Brilliant turn by Hickey. International football doesn't faze him. He played in the Scottish Cup final as a 16-year-old, as Craig down below us knows only too well, given he put him in the team. As Robertson picks up on the near side, overlapping Tierney. Short ball instead to Armstrong. Scotland subs waiting to come on. Armstrong back to Jack, out to this near side for Tierney. 66 on the clock. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. Here's McGregor. Shuffles away from a couple of Cypriots and moves it out to this near side touchline. Out it comes McGregor, winning the throw-in on the near side. It's about level with the penalty spot here for the Scots in an attacking position. Approaching the final quarter, and Willie Miller, Stevie Clarke making a couple of changes, so it is going to be Armstrong off, and I would imagine it'll be Ryan Jack. And that's just what he does, isn't it? I mean, it's like-for-like changes. He doesn't want to change the system at this point. His team are leading. They're not desperate for a goal. They'd like one. Yeah, they're not desperate for it.
They're not, and he's that type of manager as well, isn't he? Try to suggest to him that he needs a second goal after this game. If it stays at 1-0, then that'll be a brave reporter. But there you go. I think it takes the pressure off. But knowing Stevie Clarke, if it finishes 1-0, job done. He'll be delighted. 3 points in the bag. I think Stuart Armstrong showed what he's capable of there. Just exposing their defence just before he was hooked. Very, very good first half, though, you've got to say. He fell out it in the second, but I think the whole team has fallen out it in the second half, and not really surprised that Ryan Jack's been invited for the early bath, and McTominay comes on.
Double change coming up for Cyprus as well. They're going to take off Kyriakou, the number 10, and Pitas, the striker. The striking replacement is Andronikos Kakoulis of Ammonia. He was playing for Neil Lennon this season, and his club teammate Charalambous comes on. He comes back to Tierney and infield for McGregor. So 2 changes for both sides. Here is Porteous for the Scots. Over there on the right he finds Hickey. Chip ball towards Christie. He's done well, flicks it on. It's Dykes. Dykes pulls it back to Christie. Blocked. Still alive. McTominay's efforts blocked as well. Still in the box with Hickey. Crosses in towards Dykes. Flicked half away. Here's McGinn. The edge of the penalty area. Back to Tierney. Too much on the cross this time with the left foot. And it sails behind for the goal kick. They have 3 opportunities there, Scotland. Brilliant from Christie's just on, and from the other sub, Lyndon Dykes as well. They're unlucky they've not made it 2 there. Into the final quarter we are. 1-0 Scotland.
Yeah, what I was actually going to say was that historically I think Dykes and Christie are a good partnership together, Liam, so it will be interesting to see how they perform in this latter part of the game. But it's a good flick on, good ball into a dangerous area, although you would expect it to be Dykes flicking on for Christie as opposed to the other way about. But Cyprus do really well, bodies in front, defending for their lives, and they make it so difficult to get a clean shot off on target.
It's not easy when you've got that many defenders in there, and it hasn't been easy in the second half for Scotland. They found it really difficult to open them up, but on that occasion, it's just a case of throwing the bodies there and hoping that you can block the shots and a couple of them, and a couple of great opportunities for Scotland just to, ease the nerves a little bit. But they don't look like a nervous side. I just think they've lost their tempo, lost their impetus in the second half.
Be keen that doesn't cost them points here, though, because any wound they receive today, even though it's match day one, could be completely fatal to their hopes. They lost 3-0 in Kazakhstan at the start of the last European Championship qualifiers and didn't recover. It was a tough group with Russia and Belgium also in it, of course. They did make it through, though, via the playoffs, and they've got that as the fallback. Said right at the start, Steve Clarke believes this group of players won't need the playoff. He told us that immediately after that game in Poland against Ukraine, our final Nations League outing last September. Cyprus have it. It's a long ball forward towards Kakoulis, but he's not going to get there. He was behind for the goal kick. We're in the final 20. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. You would think as well that Cyprus are going to have to try and have a go at some point, try and get a point out of this. They did score late on, thought they got a point 4 years ago before Ollie Burke scored that rebound goal towards the end. You would think they would have to leave gaps at some point.
I think it'll be late on, though. I don't think they're going to give this up. I think they'll be thinking that as long as it's still just a 1-0 that they're in with a chance of getting something. Maybe the last 10 minutes, perhaps.
One ball forward is headed clear, but only as far as Christie. He's been a substitute more often than not for Bournemouth this season. Christie's, he loses out. There were two ganging up on him, and then John McGinn decides to wipe one of them out as well. And that's going to be a free kick to Cyprus midway inside their own half, down on this near side. We've hit 71. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. Here on Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland, across the various ways and means of listening to the show. Remember, we've got the daily podcast as well at BBC Sounds and at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland, Monday to Friday. Indeed, you'll get the podcast across the weekend as well, with the post-match reaction to come from here in the wake of this opening Euro 2024 qualifier, which Scotland are leading right now. The second half has been pretty hard work, though. We'll take the 3 points. Doesn't matter how 3 points come in this group. Get as many of them as possible, as will be given as a Scotland throw-in level at the edge of the centre circle, north stand side, taken short to McTominay by Hickey. He was back to Grant Hanley. He squares it to Tierney. And Tierney back to Hanley. Out to the right, Porteous. And then to Hanley. Of course, we'll have full coverage of the Spanish visit here on Tuesday. Scotland going from the bottom seeds to facing the top seeds in the space of a few days. Here's Dykes. Good control from Lyndon Dykes. Moves it left to right of the circle for McTominay. McTominay's got Hickey ahead of him in an overlap from Porteous now. Porteous, low ball. Hickey takes a touch, and Gogic again is the man with the important block and then clearance, and now they're away down that left-hand side with Ianu driving forward. Hanley comes to meet him, then he collides with Porteous, and it almost fell favourably for Kakoulis. And Scotland pick up with McTominay. Scotland have a man down here, so McTominay's going to put it out of play. It was a little bit nervy at the back there between Hanley and Porteous, and I think it's Tierney who's down injured.
Yeah, it is, Liam. Scotland got off actually because they're caught. The counter-attack's really quick, and it shows you. I'm not sure who that was. McGregor was up against Ianu, it was, but the pace, when he put the burners on, because Callum McGregor certainly is no slouch when he gets going, and he actually made them look pretty slow. And then Kieran Tierney luckily gets enough on it, takes a bit of contact in doing so. But it's a warning shot, because as Willie mentioned, certainly in the last 10 minutes Cyprus will throw a few more bodies forward. They will look to try and be a bit more direct if they possibly can. And they could at this stage go and grab something from this game, because Scotland have been far from convincing in this second period.
I think what you do is just say to the back three, just stay. You can sing the national anthem all you want, but it can inspire players, but what you've got to do is think your way through this game at this moment in time. It's one, the game is one. You don't have to do anything. Yes, if the second goal comes, great, but don't give anything away. That's cynical.
Yeah, yellow card for Porteous. His man was away. Free kick Cyprus. He cynically brought Castanos to the deck, and he is yellow carded. 74 played. Scotland leading Cyprus by a goal to nil. Little things like that.
Yep.
Just get the home support on edge.
don't get sucked in. Don't, do what you're there to do as a defender. Make sure you defend.
Free kick to the Cypriots then. It's probably about 10 yards from the edge of the centre circle in the Scotland half, slightly left of centre. There's Clark, Carver and Naismith down below having a meeting. I know Liam Cooper was asked to do a bit of a warm-up there when Kieran Tierney was down getting treatment. Castanos is going to take this free kick for Cyprus. He's eyeing up the Scottish box here. Left-footed chipped ball is won by Porteous, who gave it away, so he'll feel a lot better about things now. Tierney forward to Christie, controls it beautifully, gets away from his man, brought down, no free kick though. The referee, obviously Phil Antoniou, got enough of the ball there. Christie's got his arms outstretched, asking the question of the Croatian referee. 15 to play of the 90, Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. Certainly looked like a free kick in the first viewing of it.
I think there was contact, but
does he play the ball at all, really? I thought Christie gets full contact on it, knocks it beyond him.
He did. There was contact after it, but I think the referee is obviously deciding that Christie has lost control of the ball. I think that's the only reason I can put forward why he didn't give you it.
They've given another free kick against Ryan Christie.
It's a free kick from you.
Yeah,
should have been a free kick.
The guys using the monitor in front of them that we are fortunate to have here at Hampden as Cyprus collect with Charalambos out to the left-hand side. They're level with the Scotland penalty spot, and they've managed to free themselves of Aaron Hickey. Fighting back well here though, over on that far side touchline. And Cyprus coming forward, and there's no free kick as it's won back by McTominay. There's McGinn facing his own goal here at the edge of his box. He turns and clears up towards Christie. Gogic gets enough on it though. Now it's back with the Cypriot goalkeeper Dimitri at the edge of his D.
Can I change that 10 minutes to 15 minutes? They're certainly having a little go at it now, aren't they, the Cypriots? And it's a little bit nervy for Scotland perhaps, because they've actually had a very, very good second half. I felt the visitors not causing too many issues defensively for Scotland, but certainly had much more control of the game than they did in the first. And Scotland have certainly fallen out of it. They've lost that tempo and that impetus that they had in the first half.
Andy Robertson gave Scotland the lead when Cyprus were here in Steve Clarke's first game. As Koussoulos scored on 86 minutes, Burke on 89 restored the Scotland lead, but Cyprus very nearly spoiled the party for Steve Clarke on their last visit here in 2019. Timuri Kitsbaya down there will believe right now, with his team just one behind, that they can get something out of this. Nathan Patterson's going to be on for Scotland just now. This will be the final change, won't it? This is their third substitute interval. And Cyprus are going to make another double change as well, as they pick up with Leifis inside the centre circle, pings a long ball out to this near side. Robertson gets his head to it. McGinn does well, shrugs off his man. He's so strong. Now it's Christie, just lost sight of it momentarily, and it's Cyprus who have it back with Arti Martas, who's brought down. That's another Cyprus free kick. Robertson and Christie would do well not to get involved. Don't want to pick up cheap bookings. I mentioned earlier, if you're booked in 2 separate matches in this campaign, you miss the next one. No cheap bookings required. And it's going to be a Cyprus ball. They're going to make their double change as well, Willie.
Yeah, I think we can talk about the opposition players as well, and I'd like to say a big mention to Alex Gogic. I think he's been outstanding for the Cypriots at the heart of that defence, just kind of anchoring the two with the two other centre backs. So he's been asked a lot. He stood up to the challenge. He's not been taken off, has he?
He is, yeah. But I'll tell you why that is, because Kitsbaya is going for it. Wow. He's brought on 2 strikers in Loizu of Omonia. He's only 19. He's played 119 times for his club side. Again, another Neil Lennon was in charge of. And Marinos Gionis has come on as well, who plays along with Johnny Russell at Sporting Kansas City. Another player who's a relative youngster. He's 21. As Nathan Patterson comes on to replace Aaron Hickey. Patterson just back from injury, the Everton defender, and he'll come on for Hickey. So there's the sign of intent. Now Kitsbaya, as we move towards that final 10 minutes, I mean, he loved a goal. He loved setting them up as well as scoring them. He was a flamboyant player, And he's clearly decided, as Willie was talking about earlier, the final 10 minutes, you'd be as well have a go here. It's losing 1-0, you'd be as well lose 2-0.
Right, you've got to go and have a go, because they're very much in the game. Certainly this second half that they've been in the game. They've been a much tougher team to play against. They've carried more of an attacking
Here's
threat.
a chance already, just outside the Scotland box. A wonderful block challenge there by Porteous. It's really important because Kekoulis was letting fly there. And here they have it inside the Scotland box. To the Cypriots as we approach the final 10 minutes. The cross ball is swung in just a bit too high as the offside flag goes up on this near side. Loizu was trying to attack it with his first touch of the ball. He doesn't quite get there. So 10 to play, Scotland 1, Cyprus 0. But look, Cyprus, it's almost a front four now.
Yeah, and you know, I suppose Scotland, looking at the second half, have only themselves to blame, because they're only a shadow of that performance of the first half. They could have put it to bed. They looked as though it was just a matter of time before they were going to do that. But you know, everything's just fallen to pieces in the second half. You know, they haven't been really in control of the game. If they have been in control of the game, it's been very slow control as well. It's been a lot of square passes, a lot of passes back the park as well, and not that forward thinking Scotland that we saw in the first half. So you know, they brought it on themselves. You know, I suppose Steve Clarke will be happy if it stays this way, but you know, he'll be hugely disappointed if the Cypriots manage to get an equaliser.
Another foul by Christie on Roberts on the near side. He's given away 3 fouls actually since he came on, Christie. Played now almost 81. Cyprus free kick, and Roberts gets back to his feet, helped to do so by his goalkeeper. As the camera pans on to Alex Gogic, who, as Willie was saying, Leanne was saying, was terrific here. The St Mirren fans will be Scotland fans, of course, but they'll be proud of their auxiliary centre-back, Alex Gogic, who played there for his team today's country. There's the long ball forward from Dimitri, who's headed clear by Scotland, picked up here by Christie. Can he make it through to Dykes? Yes, he can. Dykes has it, attacking the Cyprus box here, but he showed too much of it to Leifus, who reacted well to put it out for a Scotland throw-in on the near side. 81.5 on the clock. Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
Yeah, it's better play from Lyndon Dykes, certainly offering that out ball. The ball slid down the channel. He just hasn't got the same turn of pace as you would maybe like him to have, and his touch just shows too much to the defender. But this is the area of the pitch for Scotland, certainly in these moments of the game. If you can squeeze the game, which they haven't been able to do enough in this second half, they were very good at it in the first half.
Robertson nicks it through to McGinn, left hand side of the box, back to Robertson, first time across the face of goal. Too much on it for Dykes though, and it pops out on the reverse side, and Cyprus will be able to clear here through Ianu. Too much on it for the striker Kekoulis, and it's back with Angus Gunn. That was fabulous from McGinn and Robertson.
Well, I just think Dykes has got to be there.
Yeah.
You know, the instinct has got to take him into that area. He's too deep. You know where he's going to go. Just take the chance, get yourself in there. It's a tap in if he does, and he doesn't. Big chance.
That must be the frustration for Andy Robertson, Liam, because you mentioned the amount of games it took in a Scotland jersey to you know, almost get that assist, and today he probably could have had 3 if strikers were in the right place, or there was bodies there to actually credit the delivery.
Scotland free kick over on that far side. A foul on Patterson there by Gionis. Now, where are we? 83 minutes just about played. And that John McGinn goal is continuing to give Scotland a wafer-thin lead against the side ranked 110 by FIFA in the world rankings. 1 win in their World Cup qualifying group, 1 win in their Nations League group. They will be contesting the relegation playoffs of the Nations League next spring, as the ball enjoys a bit of head tennis down below us, picked up by Robertson eventually. Now it settles at the feet of Christie. Christie coming forward. He's got Robertson as an option to the left. Robertson has a look up at the box, takes a touch at the byline, swings the cross in, too high for Dykes again. Now it comes out to the opposite full-back there with Patterson. He puts it back in. Again it's deep. Robertson heads it down. Cyprus get it half away. Robertson has it, plays it across. Cyprus head clear again, and the clearance is completed by Charalambous with a wonderful little ball out of his box. And now the Cypriots are away in a counter-attack here, picked up by Arti Matas as he drives across halfway, rolls it to the overlapping Ianu, and back in field for Arti Matas. 84 played. Cyprus looking for a late equaliser like they got last time. Picked up here by Charalambous, who started this move. There's a shot deflected and Angus Gunn holds on. It's a really important save, and he held on to it brilliantly as well, as that was hit from the edge of the box by Kakoulis. And Gunn will be so happy with that. 84.5 played, Scotland 1, Cyprus 0.
He will be, because it's taking a deflection as well, isn't it? He has to adjust a little bit. He's going the right way. It's a decent strike from Kakoulis from outside the box as well. So, you know, a young goalkeeper coming in will be delighted with that take.
We're looking to get one up in his dad, Willie. Brian Gunn made his international debut in a friendly against Egypt at Pataudry, lost 3-1 in a pre-World Cup 1990 match. It was McCoist got the Scotland goal that night, and it was at the time, it was a surprise beating. Egypt were off to that World Cup as well themselves. It was out for a Scotland throw-in to be taken here by Tierney. Final 5 minutes of the 90, 1-0 to the Scots, and then it's sliced out of play for another throw-in, this time by Roberge, and Tierney will take midway inside his own half in the near side. They certainly don't look like they're in a hurry. You can understand that. Cyprus have decided to take the game to Scotland in these closing stages. They're as well closing out a 1-0 win here rather than shipping points. Dykes flicks on looking for Christie. He's not going to find them though. It's a Cypriots back in possession down in this near side. One back well though. Here's McGregor for Christie to Dykes. Christie again out to Robertson. Robertson returning it to Christie, left hand side of the box. He'll be happy with the corner that he's going to get here, as that bobbled off the shin of Leivis. And Scotland have a corner down in the near side as we approach 86 minutes at Hampden. The Tartan Army enjoying a rare, very rare Saturday afternoon kick-off at Hampden. First since a 0-0 draw with Serbia right at the start of the 2014 World Cup qualifying campaign. Christie then to take the out-swinging corner. It's Scotland's 8th of the afternoon. Left-footed, bends it in towards the back, and again it's too deep. How many of them have there been today? And Patterson elects to just put it out for a throw-in deep inside the Cyprus half for the visitors. The deliveries, Robertson's put some really good ones in, as we're talking about, but generally from everyone else it's been pretty poor.
Yeah, it's not been good enough. Not been good enough at all. It's gone full-back to full-back on too many occasions.
Christie's pinched it back. He's going to keep it in as well down by the byline. Free to hit, and Navy in the middle. One of them's Dykes, chests it forward. McTominay! Goal! Wonderful goal by McTominay! And that will seal the deal. It will be lift-off in Euro 2024 Group A. Scott McTominay lashes the ball into the roof of the net. It's a fabulous finish from the Manchester United player. It's just his second international goal, but it is one that will ensure that Scotland begin a European Championship qualifying group with a victory for the first time since 2006. It is Scotland 2, Cyprus 0.
It's a brilliant team goal, and we spoke about Christie and what he would bring since coming on. The press is excellent. He goes and wins the ball back, puts it into a dangerous area, but I tell you what, the touch from Dykes is absolutely exquisite because it's intentional. He cushions the header, he just drops it into the path of McTominay, who makes a brilliant run beyond, and it's a top class finish. What a brilliant goal, under pressure by the way at this stage of the game. First touch with the thigh, second touch with the left foot. Willie, it's top drawer, isn't it?
It's absolutely wonderful. And you know, you're spot on in terms of Dykes and the part that he's played in it. Yeah, Christie does great, you know, his energy, his enthusiasm, he wins the ball back. It's not a great, well, it's a good cross into a dangerous area.
Yeah.
You know, but there's still a lot of work to do, and it's down to Dykes to make it work, isn't it? Good support and play from McTominay, but that cushion header, magnificent.
Foul on McTominay right to the centre circle. He's a class act, McTominay. He's found game time difficult to come by at Old Trafford recently under Eric Ten Hag, but he's a class act, and Scotland is a very important player for them. It's Christie reversing it, looking for Dykes, just wasn't quite in the ball, but Robertson gets the break of it, he's inside the box and he lashes it over. McGinn standing with his head in his hands, waiting for a pull back into the 6-yard area. Robertson apologising now as we approach the 90th minute. It's 2-0 to the Scots, but that was a real chance for a third, and Robertson knows it.
that's a decision from a guy that's already put 2 brilliant balls across the 6-yard box, and nobody's tapped him in because he's thought, you know what, this third one I'm going to have it myself. But he gets it all wrong. It sits up just as he goes to connect, and it's well over the bar. But you could see the smirk in the face as he apologised to McGinn.
Look, I think when you've been in that position so many occasions, you're right to point it out and flash them across the face, and nobody's taking the opportunity. He's got every right to have a
and it was well on. He had the shot as well, Willie.
Yeah, it was on.
It's facing down and goal.
Yeah.
Watching a replay of Scott McTominay's goal there, it's fabulous. It really is. His only other one was one of the most dramatic seen at this stadium in many a year, and he scored that late winner against Israel. And actually that night here against the Israelis was absolutely magnificent. Remember the Dykes goal that was initially ruled out by the referee for a high boot, the VAR, the check by the referee over in the north stand, and it was given. It was 2-2, and then McTominay scored late on to ensure the Scots won that one. There's been some cracking nights and days here, actually, really good atmospheres inside this place. It's 5 minutes of injury time. It's added. We're into the first of those. Scotland 2-0 up, and it's a stress-free conclusion thanks to that McTominay goal. And it comes back there to Dimitriou on the 6-yard line. This is a lot more comfortable than it was going to be, Willie.
Well, you know, Tom at half-time was saying it's okay, and I think at the end of the game we'll be saying it's okay. But the second half performance has not been anywhere near the first half, so I think that's a disappointing aspect from it. But listen, it's about getting results, it's about getting the 3 points, you know, and at 2-0 then, you know, you've got to take that with a smile on your face. I doubt if the manager will be smiling, he'll be happy underneath that, you know, but it doesn't show his emotions. But it's been a good performance. I think the first half very good, second half not so.
Cyprus on the attack looking for a goal here, and McGregor lost out there. Eventually it breaks to the edge of the box. Cyprus have it as it's dug out by Antoniou, who smashes it for goal and wildly over the crossbar, and it remains Scotland 2, Cyprus 0. We're in the second minute of 5 that were added on at the end. And I suppose, Liam, when you look at the group as a whole and the performance, which hasn't been good enough in the second half in particular today, this is the one game in the group you can get away with it, because I don't think they get away with this performance in any of the other games, including away to this lot.
No, they don't. But what I would say, at times when I watch Scotland against better opposition, they're good without the ball as well. So I think even Tuesday night, I don't think they'll fear Spain, because they're better as a compact unit. I think at times going forward it's dysfunctional, albeit we've got so many good players, and I think just this second half period it's broken down in far too many areas. But what Steve Clarke will be pleased at if they see this out is another clean sheet. I think Tom mentioned the defensive record in the last number of games, which is very good.
Here comes Cyprus though, dancing to the edge of the penalty area. There was Loizu, breaks down an 18-yard line, and it comes out to Robertson on the near side, and he clears with the left boot, and Dykes does brilliantly there, and he's brought crashing to the ground. That's a free kick for a foul right down below us by Spoljaric. Free kick Scotland on the halfway line. Yeah, I mean, this isn't the Spain side that came here when Craig Levein was the Scotland manager back in 2010. That was Iniesta and Xavi and Llorente and Busquets and the rest of them. Still a talented Spanish team. It's quite a young Spanish side. Saw them crash out of the World Cup at the hands of Morocco. As McGinn takes a quick free kick. Now it's Christie, it's clever. Ball is early, it's only half away. Robertson on a plate, and it's in from McTominay again! First time from McTominay, who scored twice from the bench today! And Hampden Park roars again for a third time this afternoon. McTominay's third international goal, and that glosses the scoreline up somewhat. It will be, in the end, a decisive win to kick off this campaign. It's Scotland 3, Cyprus 0.
Yeah, it's about taking the quick free kick, isn't it? You know, is there going to be a check? Maybe not, I don't think so. And the cross comes into the box. McTominay, the manager's got to get great credit making that change. You know, and asking McTominay to play further forward, allowing Callum McGregor just to sit in front of the back three, and he gets himself into the box. And the cross, you know, in there for him is brilliant. He's cool and he's calm, and he just slots into the back of the net. for his second. Wonderful.
It's exactly what I was speaking about, Willie, though, when I mentioned Ryan Jack. I just don't think you see Ryan Jack popping up in those two areas. You know, for the first goal that McTominay scores and then his second one there, it's just not in his nature to be that high up the pitch. So no, you're right, the managerial change has certainly changed the game, and it's taken McTominay probably 10 minutes just to get into the game and get that rhythm. But what a difference he's made, and he's got that instinctive quality as well. That he's so calm, he's so composed, Liam, under pressure.
Really good player.
Red card.
Yeah, the red card. I think there was a yellow was shown at Iano for booting the ball away there. It's his second yellow card, and Cyprus will finish with 10 men. And it was just, I mean, the whistle had gone, there was an offside given, it was a Scotland free kick, and when it broke to Iano, he just smashed it forward in frustration. And you can understand the Cypriots have that mindset now, 3-0 down. And Scotland well on their way to a really positive start in the end. And I suppose, actually, Willie, the fact that it's gone 3-0 at 1-0, there's more of a conversation about the second half performance than there is at 3-0.
Yeah, we might have to change that okay to fabulous. No, but
a very good game management it's been.
Yeah, but you know, I think the substitutions have made the difference.
Could be another. Long ball from the right is Patterson's, but it's blocked and it's cleared. Sorry, Will.
I think it helps as well when the opposition actually come out at you too and maybe leave some spaces for you to exploit, because they didn't do that for most of the second half. They certainly did it in the last 15 minutes, and you know, you take advantage of that. And you know, it's about calm heads, isn't it? It's about doing the right things and not getting, you know, too agitated, too excited when it isn't going your way. And you know, the tide is beginning to turn a little bit in the second half, and then when they do throw it at you, then you take advantage of the spaces that they leave.
We're at the end of a 6th minute of injury time, only 5 were added. That second from McTominay, Scotland's third, has bolted some extra time on top of it. Cyprus have a throw-in level with the Scottish 6-yard line on the near side, the in-stand side. And the Croatian referee sounds the final whistle. And for the first time in 17 years, Scotland begin a campaign for a victory in European Championship qualifying, at least. As Steve Clarke embraces Timuri Kitspaya, they know each other pretty well. He knows John Carver well too, the Cyprus manager. Scotland will come up against this homeland later in this group for key fixtures. And indeed, they've got a big one coming up on Tuesday, but they knew they had to win this one. This was a non-negotiable fixture with regards to the number of points the Scots took from it, and they take all 3. John McGinn opening the scoring with his 16th international goal in the first half, and they had to wait late for a double salvo from Scott McTominay to ensure the 3 points would kick off this campaign in the most positive of manners. And now they can look forward to a visit from Spain, who, as I mentioned, they're not the superpower they were last time they were here, when they boasted that wonderful side that was actually arguably one of the best ever in international football. It's still a very talented team, but if they can get something out of that, if they can win that one, what a platform they'll have given themselves in this qualifying group, which begins with a win. And that's all you could ask for today. It was a late icing of the cake at Hampden. It finished Scotland 3, Cyprus 0.
Scotland in the Euro 2024 qualifiers.